This is my first trip to Argentina. And the first time that when I traveled around the world, I spent almost 3 days seeing the city, seeing the country. It's so beautiful. You guys are lucky. Living in such a paradise country. Beautiful, have a wonderful culture and history. But of course, I come here today not to talk about the culture, not talk about how beautiful it is. I'd love to share some of my ideas and thinking about the future. I started my business in my apartment 18 months ago with 18 founders. At that time, we believed that internet could someday become very big. And nobody believed it. That when I told this story to my team, that one day we can build a big e-commerce company. And people say, okay, let's do it. Because not really a lot of people believe it. And we believe that internet would change the world. We believe e-commerce would change the world. And we believe e-commerce can help small business. And people say, China, there's no hope for internet because the government does not support internet, because China will not have e-commerce because we don't have sort of credit system, we don't have logistic. Nobody really cares about e-commerce. People love to see face-to-face, right? The expert at that time said, forget about e-commerce, focus on traditional business. But we believe it. After 18 years, day after day, we focus on supporting the small business, supporting young people. Today, we become quite a big. Compared to yesterday, we're very big because last year, we sold over 550 billion US dollars products last year. And we are ranking, GDP-wise, we are ranking number 21 countries of the world, which compared to yesterday was big, but compared to the future, we believe we're still a small company. We're 18 years old. There are a lot of things we can be done and should be done. And the other thing I want to say about e-commerce is not why, one of the things that people say, why e-commerce in China is much more successful than e-commerce in America. Because America, they have a great IT. Americans have a great sort of infrastructure of commerce. So people think Americans should have a better e-commerce than China. But I do not think so. I think China has more potential 18 years ago because the commerce infrastructure in China was too bad. So when we're using internet, everybody starts to embrace it. And in America, because commerce infrastructure, the payment, credit system, logistics, so good. So it is very difficult for e-commerce companies to survive in America. So in America, e-commerce is the dessert. In China, it becomes the main course. People today, we have 600 million people in China using mobile phone to shopping online. Every day, we have over 200 million people shopping on Alibaba through mobile phones. So this thing could never happen 18 years ago. But we never happened because of today's work. For 18 months, we never stopped trying, and we made a lot of mistakes. Today, there are many books talking about Alibaba. And I don't think most of the books really understand what Alibaba is. And I never write any book about Alibaba. The day when I'm going to write a book about Alibaba is Alibaba 1001 Mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes, but we never give up. When we have a lot of setbacks, a lot of troubles, anything. So I love to talk to entrepreneurs because most of the entrepreneurs, when they ask the questions, I know we have experienced. And this is something that I want to share with you today, that as an entrepreneur, you should always think about the three things that I tell myself every day. Today is very difficult, tomorrow is more difficult, but the day after tomorrow is beautiful. Most people die tomorrow evening. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you should believe the day after tomorrow is wonderful. If you do not have a future, if you do not believe the future, how can you work hard? But you know, today is very difficult because there are so many competitors, you don't have this and you don't have that. I tried to raise a venture capitalist. In the first year, over 30 venture capitalists I talked to one-on-one, but nobody believed it. So raising money is very difficult. And it is very difficult to hire good people. People say, Jack, now you got 18 excellent, but how could you find those 18 excellent founders at the first day when you start business? I would say we are not excellent at all. Most of us cannot find the jobs. And in year 2003, in order to hire people, we hire anybody who can walk properly, we hire them. Because nobody believed the internet would work, and nobody believed Alibaba model would work. I remember even year 2004, there was a big article in the newspaper say, if Alibaba can be successful, that means you are carrying 1,000 tons of ship on the top of Himalaya. It's impossible. So we go through all the tough situations. No matter whatever people praise us, no matter people criticize us, we believe our dream. And we believe that if we do not succeed, somebody will succeed. So not because we hire the best people, we hire the right people. Because we have no choices, right? In the first 10 years, all the excellent people join Alibaba. Later, headhunting company get all of them. Those people who stayed because nobody headhunting us. That was true. That was because we make a teamwork. Work, insist, make mistakes, improvise, learn from others, and making sure customer number one, employee number two, shareholder number three. We do the opposite like Wall Street. In Wall Street, they believe the shareholder number one. We believe customer number one. It's not the shareholder give you money. It is the customer pay you the money. So if you serve the customer well, if you treat your employees well, the shareholders will be happy. So in the past 18 years, we insist on doing that. When we IPO'd, I made a speech on the Wall Street. One of the bankers said, Jack, we did not know that you are customer number one. We thought you are shareholder number one. I say, yes, sir, we are customer number one. If you don't like us, you can sell our stocks. Because we think if the customer pay us, we can sustainable. Shareholders don't believe that they will stick to you all their life. They will buy and sell. But the customer, if you serve them well, they will stay with you all your time. So by saying that, I think the thing I worry a lot about today is every technology revolution takes about 50 years. The first 20 years is about the technology, and next 30 years is about the application of the technology. So next 30 years is the most critical. Internet has just passed its early 20 years. Next 30 years is so important. The first technology revolution takes about 50 years. And I would say the first technology revolution released the human energy, the power, the physical power. And the second technology revolution takes about 50 years. They released the distance. And this is the third technology revolution. They release the brain, the human brain. But don't expect technology bring you good stuff. Technology bring a lot of social problems. The first technology revolution caused World War I, the First World War. The second technology revolution caused the Second World War. This is the third technology revolution. If human being cannot find a solution to fight against together, we will fight among each other. So what is the third world war? I think this technology revolution, we should work together fighting against the poverty, fighting against disease, cancer, AIDS, and we should work together to fighting against the environment pollution. And this is what I believe, next 30 years, please pay special attention to the technology revolution. I found not many people believe that. And I'm calling on any country I go, I hope all the government pay attention to the 330s. Please pay attention to those people who are below 30 years old. Because those are the people who are born at the internet time. There are about 1.7 billion people today in the world. They are using internet. And most of them are born after the 1980s. Think about it. 10 years later, 20 years later, the whole world, probably like 4 billion to 5 billion people were born of the internet. They were using internet like what we use electricity. Next to 20 years, if those people who are not connected to the internet, those people who are not connected to the internet, those will be the people worse than cannot connect to the electricity 20 years ago. And the internet is going to be the infrastructure of every business, every government organization, every schools. And I think there's one thing we call ourselves entrepreneur. In the future, there is called naturepreneur, because all the business, I think 90% of the business will be online. And this is a challenge. This is also the opportunity. Argentina these days, the only thing I feel sorry about is the speed of the internet was so slow and so expensive. And this is no good. And I had a great discussion with the ministers and president this morning. They all realize that we should invest more, because without that, it's a loss of one generation. And this is what I strongly believe, that let's take internet seriously. The other thing I want to say is that pay attention to those companies who have fewer than 30 employees. Internet is going to be a big challenge to big companies. It's going to support the small companies. The small companies have a great opportunity because they change fast, they move fast. And small companies create most of the jobs. In the older times, in the past 20 years, the IT technology was designed for big companies. So only big companies have the money to buy IBM services and Microsoft and Oracle. But small companies, they don't have the money. So today, using very cheap cost, very low cost, we can use the internet to promote your products all over the world. And the other thing is that, this is my experience, and which I feel very good. Today I walk around the municipal government of the capital, and I found a lot of women people. Women have jobs. One of the secret source for Alibaba's success is that we have more than 49% of the employees of Alibaba are female, are women. And we have more than 33% of the senior management of Alibaba Group are women. We find women are going to be more and more important in this century, because women care for the others much more than men care for the others. The thing in the first and second technology revolution is about the competition of muscle, speed. But this competition, this third technology revolution, is the competition of wisdom, of knowledge, of user experience. When you think about the user experience, women can do much better than men. I say women care for their husband, children, and parents, and they also care for the work. Men, they care about their work more. So I think let's pay attention to those things. Next 30 years, those people are below 30 years old. Those companies have fewer than 30 employees, and 30% of the management of your company, or at least employees, should be women. That in this way, you can do a much better job. And think about whether you like it or don't like it.
Most of the business next 10, 20 years will be online, just like 100 years ago. If your company is not using electricity, you will be in trouble. Okay, so the other thing I want to say is about there are 5 sectors that we see from China, US, Europe is going to be influenced by the internet. First, got new retail. Today, we have online sales. There's offline sales. The offline, the retail, the supermarkets, all the malls will be in big trouble. Whether you don't like it, you like it. In the center of the city, most expensive places, people have a stock warehouse. So people go collect the thing. The cost is too expensive, cannot afford it. And the e-commerce is replacing them. But next 10 years, called the new retail, online plus offline, plus big data, and plus warehouse is going to be the new retail. So in the future, it's not about how could you sell things to the people. It's about how you serve the people better. So retail, the answer is how can you serve your consumers better, rather than how you sell your products quickly and faster. Second is new manufacturing. Because of the Internet of Things, everything, every electricity, as long as you take it, there will be chip inside. There will be smart brain inside. So what we believe, the world is going to be connected with data, with internet. And the thing is that mobile phone, when you have today the mobile phone, when you put operating system inside, 20% of the usage of the mobile phone is about making phone calls. 80% of the use of the mobile phone has nothing to do with communication. Think about all the cars will put operating system inside, and the cars will have only 30% of the function of the cars about driving, and 70% nothing to do with the transportation. And the other is new financing. I see a lot of developing countries facing big trouble on reaching the financial supporting. In the past centuries, financial system was designed for 20% of big companies. They neglect 80% of the small business, the consumers. So the new financial system, which is called fintech or techfin, we are going to support 80% of the consumers, 80% of the small business that never be connected to the on the financing. So I believe most of the banks are going to facing huge challenges in the future. About the manufacturing, last century, everything is about standardization. Everything is about large scale. Now, next 10 years, everything is going to be tailor-made, custom-made. So these big things that are changing. And also about manufacturing, and one thing I want to say is that past 20 years, we are making people like a machine. Next 20 years, we will make machine like a people. Machine is going to be very smart. And machine can play chess. That's a simple deal for them. I always say, when human being created the machine, we know machine will be powerful than us. When human being created the trains and the cars and planes, we know machine can run faster. When human being designed the computers, we know computer will be smarter than we are. All right? So computer can remember everything. Never forget. Never get angry. Right? Computer never get tired. When you get the electricity, the work keep on working. So I think computer is going to take a lot of jobs. The other thing is a new technology. The world is shifting from IT to DT. IT technology, information technology, is to empower yourself. DT, data technology, is to empower the other side. Data technology is not the upgrading of IT. Data technology is different way of thinking. So be careful of the data technology. It's data technology about the cloud computing, it's about the data, it's about the mobility, everything, and artificial intelligence. And then finally, very big change is about the new energy. The energy, we say, the first technology revolution in energy is coal. Second technology revolution is electricity and oil. And this technology revolution, the new energy for development is data. When you have data, you'll be totally different. So how to collect data, process data, and utilize data. So this is something we all have to talk about. So based on that, let me tell you, a lot of jobs are going to be disappearing. A lot of jobs, white-collar jobs, you think, this is a great job. I got a lot of young people came to me and say, Jack, so we are going to have the data. So that means data analyst is going to be a good job in the future. Can I apply university study data analyst? I would say there will be no data analyst in 10 years. We have too many datas. It's the only computer that can do the datas. Human being cannot. Human being can only analyze information. You can never analyze data. The other thing is I tell you a true story. My city, Hangzhou, the city that hosted the G20 last year. It's a beautiful city. A month ago, there was a robbery, two thieves, they broke into 3 supermarkets in the evening, tried to steal some money, cash. But the 3 supermarkets, they only stolen less than $200, and they were arrested. Why? People do not use cash today. They use mobile phone payment. So even thieves are thinking about the change jobs. The other thing I'll tell you, there is a bagger. I saw a bagger in China. He put a zip code there because today when we walk on the street, we don't have a pocket money. You have the mobile for the street if you want to give the money. Things are changed very, very quickly. In 1870, in the United States, 50% of the jobs are people working in the farms, farmers. Today, only 2% of the jobs in America, they're farmers. You may hate technology revolution to take away a lot of jobs, but let me tell you, every technology revolution creates more jobs. But for the beginning of the 30 years, it's going to kill more jobs. So this is something that you may like it. Even the CEOs, I have a project 5 years ago. I told the team, say, my imagination is that in 30 years, the Time magazine cover the top CEO of this year is a robot. Because at that time, a CEO must handleize all kinds of data. It's not about today's CEO. So I think the job is going to be taken away, but a lot of new jobs are going to be coming up. The jobs that with data, with internet, the jobs you have to sell across the board. If you still think you are a business in this city or in this town, you have no chance to compete. If you want to make your company big, think about, if you're a small company, you can only sell things in your small town. But if you want to sell across the province, if you want to sell across the board, across the nations, you will be a big company. And people keep on asking me, so Jack, if so many jobs are taken away, so what the human would look like? Life is going to be challenged. Yes, I tell you. In next 20 years, very possible people only work 4 hours a day. You say, how is it possible? Your grand-grandfather worked 16 hours a day. And he believed it's so busy. Now we work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We still feel very busy. I tell you, when you work 4 hours, you still feel very busy. When you work 4 hours a day, when you're at the internet time, DT time, you might travel over 300 places, cities. So the cars, everything. If you do business today, connect to the internet, you can sell your salmon, you can sell your gadgets all over the world. And this is what I feel excited about. Think globally. young people, if we do not think globally, you will face huge challenge. The next thing about the globalization, the trade, about think globally. Today, a lot of people hate globalization. A lot of people hate global trade. I'm a believer of globalization. You can never stop globalization because people are movable. People are globalized. Young people globalization. The last 20 years, globalization was designed for big companies, for developed countries, which I don't like it. So I said we have a B20 or G20. We should have a G200. We should have a B200. If last 20 years, the globalization was controlled by 60,000 big companies. Yeah, create a lot of jobs, but it support a lot of rich company. What if we can make globalization supporting 6 million companies or 16 million companies? All the small business, everybody, if you have a mobile phone, you can global buy, global sell. This could be changed the world a lot. If the small business can sell things across the board, this is going to change the world a lot. This is going to create a lot of jobs. I walk on the street few days ago, 2 days ago, marketplace. There are so many interesting arts and crafts of things here. But for you guys, you see every day, you say, no, I've seen that for 100 years. But for people like me, came from China, wow, that's very creative, right? For you think, you take for granted. For people in the other side of the world, they love that. So this is something that only through the internet, you might have the chance to do it. So I think the e-commerce and the internet is trying to making sure the globalization should be inclusive. The globalization should supporting young people. The globalization should supporting small business. And if you're a small business, you have better chance to sell things abroad. A few years ago, I went to Peru. There was a big demonstration when I was there because Peru was trying to connect free trade agreement with China. And I happened to be there, huge demonstration because people believe that China is going to take away their jobs and this and that. So I was shocked because there are about 80 policemen protecting me. And there's a young man, he came up, grabs the microphone, said, everybody are wrong. Alibaba helped us. I'm using Alibaba. He said, he's 23 years old. He said, I'm only 20 years old, 23 years old. I'm using internet to sell my products to New Zealand, to Australia, to China. I never thought we could do it before the internet time. So think about any ideas, any great or even stupid ideas you have. Think about in the whole world, there are more than 7 billion people. There must be stupid people agree with you. If you think about your only town, you have no chance. I remember 7 years ago, I had a discussion with some friends. One of a friends said, I have an idea. Think about how mosquitoes think. He said, I want to research the way mosquitoes think. I think this is very stupid. He said, let's put that idea on the internet. And so he write information on the internet. He said, I have an idea. I want to research how the mosquitoes think. So if those people who are interested in, please come to that restaurant on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. So Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, 13 people appear at that place. So through the internet, you can always find the people who love your products, who love your ideas, who may join you together. So these are the things that I would love to share with you. So Argentina, I'm really excited about what I see in the past 3 days. You guys, my thinking is after internet, what's the next big wave? The next big wave I call double H. Happiness and health. No matter how rich you are, no matter how powerful you are, no matter how strong you are always looking for happy and healthy. Unfortunately, today, nobody is happy. Rich people not happy, poor people not happy, right? We have to make people, but you are the country with such a great environment with water and such a safe food. So the safety foodness, all the agricultural products, all the great ideas you have, I mean, this is the healthy. The other thing, the sports, right, the soccer. You know, in our site, last year, we sold 170,000 T-shirts for Messi, you know, Messi, yeah. His teacher, I mean, he probably did not realize that. So I think we should, for this country, with the great environment you have, you should attract more tourists and services. And with the great agricultural products, and also you got so many interesting, I visited a satellite company yesterday. The ideas they're researching about the moisture of soils, which I've never heard about that. After I heard about that, I said, very interesting. So this is the country with great culture, with great environment, and the potential is huge. People say, oh no, not necessarily, right? You know, all the great opportunities, most of the young people think, all the great opportunities are taken by Jack Ma, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos. You know, these guys think, well, we had the same idea. 20 years ago, I hate Bill Gates and I hate those guys. They take all of my jobs. So every day I think about, how can I be a Bill Gates? Where is the opportunity? Opportunity as an entrepreneur, always see the opportunity from the complaints the other people have. Opportunity always lies in the place where there is a complaint. And I find I'm lucky enough to meet and see a lot of great people in this world. It's great entrepreneurs, business leaders, politicians, scientists. There's one quality which I find that they never complain. They always be optimistic for the future. When other people complain, they start to think, if I can solve this problem, this is my opportunity. So I think the opportunity is everywhere. And do not believe today there is expert of big data. There's expert of internet. There's no expert of internet. There's no expert of big data because it's just the beginning. Internet and big data will influence this world for at least another 150 years. So we have expert of yesterday, but we don't have expert of tomorrow, of the future. So I remember when we started business, year 2003, when we launched our site Taobao. So we competed with eBay. eBay at that time, their market cap is more than $80 billion. At that time, Alibaba, every money we put together, less than $2 million US, we start the company. They say, you're committing suicide. eBay say, we have 99% of market share of China. At that time, total internet users in China, only 10 million. And I say, wow, we got 1.4 billion people. So 10 years ago, I went to Silicon Valley. I announced in Silicon Valley, say, China internet users will be bigger than USA in 10 years. And a lot of people, ooh, impossible. And I say, my theory is you have 300 million people. Nobody died in 20 years. Everybody on the internet, 300 million. Right? We got 1.4 billion people. For 10 years, the growth rate of internet will have more. So when we compete with eBay, somebody give me a book, say, Jack, read this book. If you want to compete with eBay, you have to read this book because this book is about how eBay successfully do the e-commerce in America, in the world. Because if you don't read it, you don't know your competitor. You don't know the great experience. So I said, I threw this book in the garbage. And my theory is that we should someday ask eBay to learn from us. It's a beginning. Who said he's expert? Nobody is expert. If we start now, we will be the expert when 30 years later. So this is what I believe, that as an entrepreneur, think out of the box. Do what you believe is right. Find a good team. The success story for every single, have a belief in your mind. And find a great team. Start to make mistakes. Start to learn from these mistakes. And serve your customer better. This is the only way. And do not wait for I heard a lot of people say, Argentina e-commerce no hope because we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have this. If everything is ready, you have no chance. Those people have more power, those people have more money, they take everything. Because there's nothing is ready. That is the unique things of this entrepreneurship. So I think whether you like it or not, all the people sitting here pay special attention to the internet. Pay special attention to those people who are below 30 years old. And pay special attention. Do not worry, because we are going to have some social unstableness because of the jobs. You're lucky. We're born in this time. We can see this revolution. And you're unlucky. Maybe the challenge will come to you. So this is what I traveling around the world. I talk to small business and entrepreneurs. I would say it is our time. When you're using internet, you do not have the obstacles. The thing I learned is that it is very difficult to convince a successful people. To convince a successful people, almost impossible. They will say, hey, I've been doing business for 30 years. Why you are better than I am? So try to convince those people, work with those people who want to be successful tomorrow. One of the secrets of Alibaba, 15 years ago, when we do e-commerce, we never tried to work with big companies. We never tried to work with successful people. We spend most of our time talking to young people who are like teenagers, 15, 18 years old. And then 10 years later, they become 28, 30 years old. They become good. So you should have a patience. If you have a good dream, you should have a patience. So I probably should open the floor and answer any questions you have. Thank you.